This newest state representative didn't want to show her tears. As she stood in the chamber and explained this bill was in honor of her dad, a World War II veteran who taught her to never leave a man behind. For the next 10 years, this newest state rep would live by those words. Maria learned early on what it meant to serve her country.
My family background is like the American story. My dad is a Michigan guy, grew up on a farm, big dairy farm in Michigan, and learned all the values that Midwesterners grow up with, which is your word is your bond, and you work hard.
When the Vietnam War started, the family moved to upcountry Thailand, where Maria volunteered at the medical unit at the Kurrat Air Force Base during the day and attended college classes at night. She went out of her way to help the wounded, many of whom were just out of high school. Knowing the atrocities they suffered, knowing the derision they received upon their return stateside, she later continued to fight for them in the legislature, filing bills every year and funding for additional nursing homes.
What inspired me to pass veterans' bills is the memory of my father. My dad was a World War II veteran, combat in infantry, Army, and Army all the way. And he helped me so much my whole life, motivated me, and gave me the sense that every person in America has a duty to serve. It may not be in the combat field, but whatever it is, we all have a duty to serve. That was my motivation to file and work for and eventually pass a veterans bill every year I was in the state legislature.
Maria began her prosecutorial career by being one of the first hires by newly appointed Miami State Attorney Janet Reno. Quickly, she learned the power of the law.
Being one of the first female prosecutors hired by Janet Reno was exciting. It was probably one of the best jobs I ever had, and it came right after law school. In fact, she hired me right from law school, even before I passed the Florida bar. We became, she was my first boss, and even though we became friends, she was always Miss Reno to me.
Fighting for the rights of victims led to her involvement in the Nobel Peace Laureate's global campaign against human trafficking. Representing Florida in summits throughout the world, she collaborated with world leaders, learning the power that lies with strong advocacy and boldness. While at the Global Summit in Berlin, Germany, she discussed the efforts of the Jewish organization and the remnants of the displaced persons camp that her in-laws, Sam and Nina Sachs, fled to after the Holocaust, and where her future husband, Peter, was born.
Holocaust funding is very important to me as a wife and as a legislator.
Funding for Holocaust museums and the memorial at the Capitol in Tallahassee is in tribute to the large number of survivors who live in the district. Upon meeting with the teenage survivors of a horrific parasailing accident, Maria was reminded of her own 3 children.
The parasailing safety bill was one of those bills that had been around the legislature for years. We never could seem to get it passed until a horrific accident occurred outside of Panama City, where 2 young girls who were visiting here from the Midwest were swept up in the parasail. It was a horrific accident that was caught on tape. And so the mother came to me and called me and said, could I help her? And so I got involved in it. I met with the girls, I met with their families.
We were screaming.
Florida's better than this. We're gonna have regulations. It's gonna start today. Thank you very much.
After many years of failed attempts to pass safety regulations, Maria worked across the aisle to finally bring common sense regulations to parasailing. She even went afloat to show it was safe on the first day of the new law. Protection of our most vulnerable is the focus of the Good Samaritan Bill, the Safeguarding of Our Seniors Bill, and the Parasailing Safety Bill. Fighting for the rights of those who are left behind, fighting for those who have no voice, fighting for the most vulnerable, are part of a legislative career that spanned 10 years and the passage of more than 22 laws. These successful legislative achievements are united by the passion to serve and protect, fighting for you.